Y'all excited for Thanksgiving, guys?
Yup.
Super excited for Thanksgiving. I am as well. I am so ready to have a few days off with family. It's been a crazy few weeks.
Yeah.
What is the most important thing to you, Corey, about Thanksgiving?
It really is seeing the family. Like as you get older, I think you start to cherish that time. With like one of my grandpas is 87, and so like for me, it's all about getting to interact with him and him get to interact with my boys. So
Good stuff. I'll be honest. I want to be with my boys and family as well, but I'm looking forward to some good old ham. I'm ready to tear some ham up.
I want some deviled eggs.
Some deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs.
That's positive. I still feel like that. I don't understand why the turkey had to be the mascot of Thanksgiving. I feel like it should have been a hog because it's so much juicier.
when cooked right, a turkey, like I'll have to fry a turkey. I do a Cajun fried turkey.
See, I
No,
like
fried
fried.
turkey.
I like fried turkey too.
Like it is juicy. It is. I mean, your tongue will beat your face to death trying to get to it. Okay, I'm just saying.
Well, good stuff. Well, I want to welcome everyone to our 5th episode of Yoders Talk. I'm super excited about today's episode. We got some special guests on today as well. Jimmy Herndon, he was on earlier in the season. We have Jason Sickles. This will be the first time he's on. He's our production manager here at Woodworks, and super excited to talk about their journey through the organization, where they started, kind of where they are today, and maybe their thoughts on how it took to get there. And and also I forgot to mention I have a very important person beside me as well, my co-host Corey McClendon. You ready for this, Corey?
I'm excited. Anytime I get to sit next to Jimmy, I get excited.
Good stuff. So Jason, with you just being on, tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do here, your family, and all that good stuff.
Well, I have my fiance, about 9 kids, but they're pretty much grown, 24 to 4. I pretty much run the whole production set, everything here, trying to get everything out, our buildings, and making sure everybody's being nice, smooth, organized, getting all that done. I'm just one of the go-getters. They try to make everything go smooth.
Good stuff. Yeah. If your building is ever late, he's the man you can come.
Yeah, pretty much.
Come yell at. So, but good stuff. Well, I want to get into the thing of, kind of where y'all started here in the business. I know y'all kind of have a very similar story of, starting where y'all did and today being part of the leadership team here in our organization. Jimmy being the COO of Yoder Metal, you being on the leadership team as far as the production side, and kind of where y'all started. It's been a interesting story. The process it took to get to where you are, the patience it took. And so, yeah, we just want to kind of get into that. Corey, you want to share anything on that?
Yeah, I think just in our conversation, I think both of y'all have a really unique story. When I was kind of preparing and thinking about this conversation, I was kind of one question kind of started coming to my mind. Start out, and I guess we can start with Jason. In your mind, when you first started working here, did you see kind of you being in this role that you're currently in right now?
Oh, no. Because when I started here, I actually had a stroke 3-4 months prior, and I had just left my wife, and I was living at my mom's and everything, and I just said it was time to focus on me. Focus on me, because I was always trying to please everybody else, and I was just tired of all the pushing and all that kind of stuff on me. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go get a job. And that's my first step. So I actually went to H&S first, and then I came here, and then I I went somewhere else. But Randall's the one that actually gave me a call. And he told me come by. They tried me out. And I was like, okay. And at first I was here for a check. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen myself learning everything I did. I mean, I never stayed at a place more than a year. I've been here 7 years, almost 8, something like that. Like, I never thought I'd still be here.
Yeah.
And I mean, going from the cleanup guy to being a CEO, like, never fathom. I always figured I'd be the hard labor guy. That was my role in life.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was? Was it something to do with your previous jobs, or what?
Well, every job I worked, I mean, there's only one job out of that I could probably say I loved, and that's when I worked the mine at Carmoose. I loved that job. I didn't have no experience on a front end loader, none. And Dave took the time, put me on there for about a week, and then all of a sudden he told me I was his best front end loader after about 3 months. But they couldn't hire me because it was through a temp agency.
Yeah.
But he got injured, and then after that, it just all went downhill. And eventually, they just let everybody that was there go, and the guy rehired all his buddies. But everywhere I've ever been, there was no appreciation. There was no, it was like, you're going to do this, you like it or not, or you can leave, or you'll get fired.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, like, if you made a mistake, that mistake would cost you in one way or another. They didn't care about their employees. They didn't care about leadership or team or nothing. But when I got here, I mean, even though we're just now getting into the whole leadership thing and everything else, this place has been like a family more. They didn't care what your background was, because I got a bad background. I do. But they take you in. And I mean, Clinton's been there I don't know how many times for me. I mean, he knows my whole life story. And he's coached me so much to get me out of my head, my depressions, my anxieties, all that kind of stuff, to where it just drives me to be better.
Yeah.
And it's not of the thing like, he knows I don't want to let him down. If I let him down, it crushes me, and he knows that. But it's one of those things, like, I didn't have a father figure, therefore, you know, this is like my home. This is my family. And I don't want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
So you would say that a lot of it has to do with the reason you've made the progress you have is because you see that us as a team truly care for each individual that works here.
100%.
Good.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, let's kind of shift gears and go over to you. When you were just hauling metal, did you ever think that you'd be in the spot of pretty much running the show down there?
No, that is a huge no. I always believed there was a better life out there for me. And I always believed that the good Lord would present that to me. And something was different about this job, how everything worked out from the very start to where I'm at now. And I just remember, you know, working, and I was in, y'all caught me in just a special time in my life to where I was willing to do whatever it took, no matter what it was. I could be shoveling crap for 13 hours. I was in that part of my life where it was all or none, and y'all so happened to get the all. And so there was not a give up in me. And I started noticing things. I started noticing these people treat me like I'm family, don't know me from Adam. They consider my opinion. They consider me. They care about me. And no, but I didn't know where it was going. I didn't see me in this role, but I did believe that something was going to come from it. You know, whether another opportunity, good Lord present to me, or, you know, a promotion. But I was willing to do whatever it took, no matter the cost. I was living with my grandmother. I was sleeping, you know, on the couch or in the back room, and just, you know, gym life and then work, gym life and work. And and head down. Didn't have much of a social life. I didn't care to because I was focused. It's kind of similar to Jason's story. Got so tired of focusing on everything else. I need to focus on me. I want to be 40 years old and have something and pass it along to, so, and it's just crazy how doing that and trusting God really is paid off in a way. Just opening up, like, hey, God, I'm going to give you room to work in my life, and him taking the wheel. And I'm a matter of fact, I had a situation, and I'll call him out right now. Andrew Kaplan, he's like a brother to me, and he called me. Was like, hey, I got a job, and he moved off a couple of years. This dude's like a brother to me. He's like, hey, I got a job if you're interested. And it was pretty decent pay, but I'd have to move. At the time I was single, sleeping in my grandma's back bedroom. Why not? And I remember telling him, I was like, dude, something is different here. I was like, I'm the first delivery guy. And there was something that just burned inside me that made me believe, hey, I need to at least stick this out and give an honest effort and see what comes from it. And I believe a little bit of faith, a lot of hard work went a long way.
Yeah. And I'll share my story a little with both of these guys. And on Jason's side, it's not so, probably not so nice of a thing, or the thoughts I had about Jason. And I was young at the time, I'll admit that. And so I had came in one day, and I feel bad about this, but today I hopefully I learned something from it. But I came in the office I think it was the day Jason was hired, and I seen this guy working out in there in the yard, cleaning up and things like that. And I told Randall, I said, who's this guy? And he's like, hey, it's a guy we just hired to take over the cleanup and things. And I looked at him and said, man, I give this guy 2 weeks. 2 weeks at the most. And maybe a little bit of that was because of some of the history we had with some of the hires that we had. And it felt like it was a struggle. Nobody wanted to work. And all we wanted was somebody that was willing to put the time in and hustle and get the job done. And so it probably was about 3 weeks, maybe a month after we hired him, that I started noticing something different. I noticed a guy that would get his job done way early, turn around, and be coming in the office asking, what else is there to do? And I was like, okay, I misjudged this guy. Again, I judged him, which was wrong in itself. You never know why somebody is the way they are, where they came from, what their history is. And so, but we noticed that. We noticed this process. And Jason, you remember.
Well, see, my biggest thing was, like, when I first come here, it was about a check. I didn't have a job. I was just going to be there to do the job that I had to do and go home. Mm-hmm. But, like, me getting to know everybody out in the yard and everything, I just got to where, okay, let me get this area, got myself into a routine. And then how everybody was towards me, it made me, because I was a total jerk. And you know this. I was a total jerk to everybody. But no matter how much of a jerk I was, everybody was being nice. And I was like, okay, maybe mm-hmm. It's just me. So I started to change up my attitude a little bit and everything else, and started doing my job more. And I started falling in love with my job. And I was like, okay, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? What mm-hmm. can I do to help you?
And that's what we noticed. We noticed someone that was willing to step in, pick up where the slack was when he didn't have to. His job was truly done. And it just kind of led to this, and we gave him more responsibility until it came to a point where we had the position needed to be filled. And we in that moment, I remember making that decision. I was like, wow, we have a guy came from this, and today he's in the position to be interviewed for this new position. And it was a big role. And one thing I appreciate about Jason so much, his willingness to learn, and his willingness to adapt, and his willingness to be called out when things weren't right, even to this day. And so I think that was the process of on my end of what I seen was the willingness to work hard and the willingness to truly give it everything you got.
Yeah.
And it's what led that to it.
And my biggest failure would probably be the criticism thing. I never took from anybody. Like, you called me out on something or whatever, it would just make me mad. But when I got here, like when he would call me out on stuff, he'd do it in a way that it didn't hit you under the belt. It'd make you like, oh, okay, I realized my mistake. This is what I need to do.
Like it was like an encouragement almost.
Yeah, it's more of encouragement than knocking you down. And all the other jobs I had, it was knocking you down. Here, it's not knocking you down. It's learn from your mistake, build off of it, and try not to repeat the process and see what we can do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I would agree with that. 'Cause the Lord knows I've made my mistakes. And I feel like your mistakes are not a death sentence.
Absolutely not.
Like-
you know, that's not who we are here.
Yeah, it's an opportunity
Absolutely.
to grow and learn. And Jimmy's really good at this. And we had this conversation this week. I messed up on something, and Jimmy was trying. I mean, he was trying to be a little too nice about it. That I messed up, and I had to be like, Jimmy, it's okay to say it was on me, you know. And so, but he's like, no, it's a team failure. You know, we're gonna get this fixed. Oh, absolutely. So, all of us, I think, have really embodied that. But, Jimmy, so with this process, talk to me about the times that, I guess, when it's not moving forward, right? When you're kind of stuck. Because I think that's one thing that all of us, like, it's really nice to have when we're all moving forward, we're all going, and it's all moving fast. But there's also times where there's a waiting period. So, Jimmy, talk to me a little bit about what kept you going in those times where you're just kind of waiting.
Simple, very simple. There's always tomorrow. I did what I could today. There's always tomorrow. And I'll get at it again. And I do remember specifically, though, their delivery days. And I'm like, man, this is just not going nowhere. I'm up here 6:30 at night, and I'm stuck on this delivery. And man, but you know what? Today's Thursday. Okay, do I got anything going on? No, I don't. Okay, hey, we're good. Okay, got tomorrow. And I would always be optimistic. And there's always tomorrow. I feel like that's a simple thing. It's always, don't make a decision in the moment, because normally if you're emotional about it, you're going to make the wrong decision. And Lord knows I still do that to this day. You can ask my fiance, because Lord, you know, bless her, because she got to put up with me all day. But don't make a decision in the moment. You always got tomorrow. There's always a new day, you know, and be willing just to get up the next morning. Let's just go get it. So
Jimmy, do you remember the day I called you into the office to offer you the general manager position?
Man, my heart was shaking. My heart's shaking right now. Just reliving it. Like, who, me? No, you.
I mean, I don't
There's
know
other-
about Jimmy, but me, I was like, yep, it's time. I'm getting fired.
You know, now that Jason's saying that, I really feel like it was that feeling. Like, I don't know what it is. I guess it's a man thing, but we just feel like such failures sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we feel like, man, have they finally figured out I'm a big piece of garbage and they're going to fire me? I would have done this a long time ago, but no. There was a little bit of a empty, like a weird feeling in my stomach. I was a little shaky, and I just remember, like, man, I remember I wanted to say yes right away, but it was just like I knew I needed to think about it. But I remember, dude, I had this conversation a long time ago with myself and with God specifically, that God, whatever you put in front of me, door, I'm going to open it. And what comes from it is two things. I either learn or move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't, I felt like that was one of those moments that, and I remember asking myself that, hey, worst thing is I suck at this, but I learned from it.
Yeah.
So
I
moving
remember
me forward.
I remember calling you in, and how old were you at that moment? 23, 22?
How old am I now? I think 22, 23, yeah.
I remember
20, yeah.
when I was having a conversation with my dad on this, and I was like, I see something in that kid. He works his tail off, and I see something that you don't just get, from anybody. And it was the same way with Jason as well. But I remember having that conversation with my father. I was like, I think he's our guy. I don't think he even knows it. I don't think he even knows that he's our guy. I don't think he's even trying to be that guy. But I feel like he has something that if is cultivated and done right and is coached up, he can become something amazing. And so I remember 100%. I didn't tell you why. I didn't even give you any reason. I said I need a meeting with you, and I brought him in. And when I said,
so
"Hey,"
that is so mean.
I said, "Hey, I appreciate your hard work. It's been noticed, and we have this position as general manager. Would you like it?" I just said it just like that. I remember this 22-year-old kid, this look on his face was like, what? Like, he about got white, because I don't think you expected that at all. At all. And I know for a fact there was a lot of growing pains through it. And there was probably days, and you can talk on this, and probably you as well, Jason, that you felt like, man, they messed up by putting me here.
100%. I thought I was over my head. I really did. Because, everybody around here knows the barn world a lot more than I did. I was just learning it. Like, okay, well, guess what? I'm going to figure it out. I watched Randall like a hawk when we was going through processing orders. And that was the thing. I was trying to learn everything I could within the company. Be sales, be production, be inventory, be whatever. That way, because I always felt like, okay, if I'm going to stay here, I got to be something they keep. If I don't know anything, I'm replaceable. I want to be irreplaceable.
So you're saying one of the keys to move forward is learn more than what's actually your job.
Exactly. 100%. Think about it. Okay, let's use Eagle for example. We got that program. Nobody knew anything. Yeah, I know software and stuff, but you still had all that data to enter, all this stuff to figure out. And we had a rough time with it at first. And we still didn't have it right until Corey came along and fixed the back end of it. But we adapted to it to where it worked for us at the moment.
And that was in a total different company. You didn't have anything to do with Yoder Metal, but you learned that process.
Yeah.
And I think the same way with Jimmy, him always being willing to learn. I remember you always about craved the thing of being coached through the process. And it's just, it's awesome for me to view it from kind of the outside and see the growth in both of y'all. And Corey, I know you just came on a year and a half ago, and you've probably already since then have seen growth in both of them. That's been just amazing.
These two guys are awesome. Like, and especially though I don't get to work with you as much, but with Jimmy, like when there's times Jimmy's got to go do something, or like today, I want to do a good job for Jimmy, because I want Jimmy to come back and it be easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the only one that's like that. Everybody down there is like that. So there's a big buy-in because he's leading our team and you're leading him, that all of us we have a drive to get it done. And but there's also, he's really become a really good friend to me too. And so there's times that, like this morning, it's a great example. Me and him were the first two at the office. I walk in, Jimmy's sitting at his desk, and I just knock on the door. Hey, man, how are you? He looks at me and he's like, you look like you got no sleep. I was like, you're right. Raising kids, and me and him bounce a lot of like dad things off of each other. So to say he's truly become a friend, and and he's just as invested in my life as my leader. It's really a blessing.
That's amazing. What would be a thing that you could tell people that are listening? And I'll go to Jimmy first, and then let you come in on that. What advice could you give someone that maybe has been at a place for a while, feels like they're giving it their all, but they're not seeing any progress in the thing of being promoted, and they kind of feel a little like maybe they're stuck, and they're not being noticed? What kind of encouragement could you give someone in that position that's listening?
First, get to know God. Trust that today will end and tomorrow will be better. Make honest effort in that. And I told myself a long time ago, and this helped me out a little bit, is understanding that faith, that much faith, but you got to have the work. You got to have the work to back it up. And God will always provide for you the things necessary in life to get you where you need to be. And that's what's helped me. And I feel like if you can really make it that simple, it does go a long way. And just keep your nose down, keep grinding, and trust that God's going to provide you that opportunity of a lifetime. And just don't stop, and no matter what, and be optimistic, man. When you fall down, turn around and look what tripped you up. Okay, if I can see what knocked me down, I can learn to steer away from it. Mm-hmm. And just and be willing to grow too. Don't, something I see a lot. As a matter of fact, I know it's a little longer than expected, but something I was doing that was holding me back more than anything else, and I see it in today's world more than anything. Stop pointing a finger at everybody else. Stop making excuses. The reason why I say that, because I did that. I didn't move nowhere. I moved further into a pit of like darkness, it felt like. And once I finally said, you know what, it was the mentality of why me, why me, why not me? Who
I like
else
that. Why not me?
Could bear this weight? It's made for me. I'm going to tote it like a badge on my shoulder. And God, I'm going to have faith that you're going to provide for me something. I don't know what. I don't care. But I'm going to work hard till I get there. And it's just crazy. I mean, honestly, if I could sit here and just tell you all the times God's came through in my life, we'd be here for a year. Mm-hmm. But, and realize what you do have. So many things in today's world that are legit miracles that we just take for granted because it's convenient. You got breath in your lungs. You can see out both your eyes. You got food on the table. You got a bed to sleep in. And if you don't have any of them, you still got Him.
Amen. I love that. I love that. So keep your head down. Keep hustling. Give it to God. Have faith. Don't point fingers. Don't say, "Oh, this is why I'm not where I want to be today because of this person, that person." I like that. All right, Jason, I'm passing it over to you.
I guess the biggest thing for me, I mean, coming from where I came from, like Jimmy said, I mean, I look at everything I have right now as a blessing because I didn't have nothing. And going through all them jobs and being repetitive with everything, getting here, it gave me the drive for a job that I love. Because if you work a job that you love, you never work. Mm-hmm. And with me, it's more like I stay grinding. I stay hustling. I mean, there's times he's called me out because I work on the weekends. Like, I want to give my all to this company the most I can because I love this company. I love everything it stands for. I love all the people. We're a big family. So if you're stuck in a job that you don't feel like you're going to go anywhere, but you want to be there, don't stop grinding. Keep doing it. Eventually, maybe you'll get noticed. But if you're in a job you can't stand and you're just there for a check or you don't want to be there, it's not the job for you.
I like that. And that was kind of my follow up or question with that is, what do we tell people that hate their job? Because there's people out there that cannot stand what they do.
I mean, take my kid for instance. Hated the job, Burger King. Easiest job to get, a real hard job to do. I've done it. I've worked at fast food. I mean, it's demanding, but it was for a check. But you go home at night, you're exhausted, you're tired, you don't want to do anything, you're barely making a buck to get by, and it's just you don't feel like you're getting anywhere because you're not paying this off or getting this bill paid or whatever, and you want a job that where you love it. Maybe you don't make as much money, but you love it. Like I said, you never work a day in your life, and you figure out a way more sanely to get your bill paid than sitting there and stressing that bill even more because you're so tired and exhausted. And
Do y'all feel that if somebody is not liking their job that they should look elsewhere?
I believe so, yeah.
I feel like you owe it to yourself
Yeah.
to do that, and I feel like you do owe it to yourself to look at least, but also, you know, reevaluate it. Is it something? Is it even them or is it me?
I got you. Yeah.
You know, fully diagnosed.
Make sure it is about that. This is not what I want for my life before you just jump ship, because I see that a lot, and in people is a little bit of a burden at their work happens, and they jump ship.
Because see, another thing is too, they could be at a great company, but they could have a bad attitude or a bad outlook, and that could be hindering them from being in a great company.
I think you are kind of have two opportunities. If and this is the way I look at quitting in my own personal life, and how I try to teach my boys. If it's I'm quitting because I just don't enjoy this, and it's mentally and emotionally taxing, then I think that we do owe it to ourselves to go to a healthier place if that's truly what it is. But the one thing that I can't do in my personal life is quit because it's hard.
Right.
You can't quit because it's difficult. Because I'm a firm believer, and God's been faithful in my life, that those hard challenges have made me the man that I am today.
Exactly. I mean, hard work pays off, regardless. I never used to believe that because of how I got run down through the companies or whatever. But like, I put in the hard work. I could honestly say I put in more work here than I did anywhere else, and it got me where I am.
Mm-hmm.
But like, being lazy, it won't get you nowhere.
Yeah, I think people need to be careful with that, because a lot of times, I think you're on to that, Corey. A lot of times people look at a job as, I want to quit because I'm tired, because it wears me out, because I don't have enough time to do what I love, and all this and that. And I mean, we all know that none of us sitting here today would be where we are if it wasn't tough at times.
Oh, 100%.
The only reason we are here still is because when it was tough, when it was hard, when we didn't feel like doing it, we still did it.
Well,
we still got it done.
Not only that, though, we had a team that was behind there,
Yes.
the support system. Like, I mean, Jimmy's been down that road. I've been down that road. Me and Jimmy will call each other because we know we're mentally taxed or emotionally taxed. Me and you's been down that road. I mean, when you have a support system and a team behind you, not only for work, but personal life as well, it builds a whole different character in you. Makes you want to be something better.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do for the next person?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
With that, for those people that like don't have that, I just, you know, trust. You know, I feel like that was the question being asked. Just trust that, hey, look, I'm going to put my nose to the grindstone. I'm going to put the work in, because at the end of the day, I can go to bed knowing I did my best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that separates you from the ones that, man, sitting on the couch ain't getting you nowhere.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And anyways,
talking about on the leadership side, y'all are all in positions of leadership. So on our end now, how can we, or get the right question here, how can we as leaders not overlook someone in our organization, and when a position opens, how do we keep from overlooking them when they've been there, they've been hustling, they've been trying to get it done, and be careful of overlooking them when they would be the perfect fit?
I mean, the biggest thing is knowing them personally, knowing them, being out there with them. I mean, I've got a couple guys that are that way right now. And I mean, even though someone works for you, it doesn't have to be that way. You can be a friend and everything. I mean, you got to be firm at work, but you can get to know someone on a personal level and still be a friend.
It's
be a
the
support
care.
system.
You truly got to be intentional in caring for that person,
Right. And I mean,
and
and
noticing.
watch them day to day. See what they're doing. See if they're slacking off. See if they're putting in that extra effort that we didn't tell them to do something, but yet they're doing it. You know?
But we see today in a lot of businesses where they have a new position and they're on Indeed, they're on this, they're throwing this out. And I understand there are certain positions that there needs to be knowledge backing it up. But
right.
But sometimes it's easy to overlook someone that has given it their all, that has been there for the team, been there doing things that they didn't even have to. Don't we need to be careful that don't we need to look within our team before we look outside?
I would say 100%.
100%.
Yeah, I
And
think
that's
'cause
kind of what you did, and I really feel like you owe it to your team.
And
because
not only that, though, everybody can be trained
Mhm.
at what you need them for. I mean, maybe they have to have a college degree for this or that, and maybe we do got to go get that person. But when it comes to other inside stuff where it's trainable,
mhm.
teach them, coach them.
Well, I think a perfect example of that is Leo.
There you go. That's yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Leo ran the roll former for, well, he's been with the company since 2012, and so what, 10 years?
He's been rolling that thing for a
Um,
while.
10 years.
And so a salesman position came open, and that guy's killing it.
Yeah.
You know, he's moved inside, and he's doing great. And so I think he's getting highlighted on Facebook today for all the hard work he does. 'Cause I think it's important to also give those guys a little, hey, you're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing is showing appreciation.
Corey, I know we have one-on-ones, and and you're taking the sales team, and I know you're going to do phenomenal with them. And what we've talked about, we got people and people and what they're lacking, what they're not lacking. Drive.
Mhm.
Leo has drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is, you look for the individuals that have drive, that is sticking it out. And I understand big companies, it's kind of hard to see that, volume of employees, but I feel like you need to make an honest effort on the one out there that's giving it his all.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like for me, I always want to know every person that works under me, whether they're direct report or they're not. I love to get to know them personally, and it gets more and more difficult the larger you get. You got to take efforts to do so. But I think it's key in that you train your leaders, whoever they're under, to make sure that they take that on themselves to truly get to know them individuals. Because you know what's crazy is I've seen this happen before where you had someone that wasn't even a direct report of you, but he was a direct report under another leader. Okay. And so you go to your leadership and say, hey, we're needing to fill this position. You need your leadership team to know that, hey, I got this guy. Another leader says, I got this guy. And I think they would be great for that. Me, in my position, I don't have I probably would have not seen that just because it's hard for me to view it all.
Yeah.
But training your leaders to make sure that they get to know their people so that when you do promote and when you do have positions opened, that they speak up, not really in defense for their team, for their guys, but maybe,
they become an advocate.
There you go. They become an advocate for their guys. Yeah. And so I think a lot of times, and I don't call them leaders, they're bosses. They're all about trying to find that next person. They don't care about their team. They don't look within their team very often to find somebody because, hey, that guy's doing his job. And if I promote him, then I got to find somebody to do that job. That's the wrong way to look at it. That is such a
Yeah.
such a selfish way to look at it. You know,
See,
these people are giving you everything they got. They are working for you, 8 to 9 hours a day of their life. Do the math. Come on, guys. Come on, leaders. You have a duty to look within your team and find people that truly want to grow and become better in the organization. I'm a firm believer that if you build a good enough culture within your organization, you will never, hardly ever have to go on one of these hiring sites to find people.
Yeah. Because, I mean,
Very seldom. I mean, we've had some positions opened up recently, and guess where these positions got filled from? Some of them weren't direct team members because the positions needed a little bit of knowledge, different knowledge that wasn't available. But still, them team members told you, hey, I have a guy that I think fits the culture, that fits who we are, and I think he would be a great for that position. So what you've eliminated having to figure out, is this guy a fit? Go to your guys, go to your team before you go out, is what I'm trying to say. Because you're going to miss somebody if you don't.
I mean, my guys, when it's come to me hiring people, a lot of my hires has come from the guys.
Mhm.
Because before I went to my guys, it was a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm not good with numbers. But, I went through like 17 people that year just trying to fill 2 positions. And it didn't work out for none of them. But as soon as I went through the guys, we got people that actually stay.
Yeah. And I'm actually a hire from that, like that.
Mhm.
So like Brandon, my best friend works here. And so like he contacted me and he was like, hey, they want you to come sit in on an interview, and I'll be honest, coming in like that, it's so much easier.
Mhm.
Because it's not I trust Brandon's opinion. Me and him have been friends a long time. And so when your best friend sits there and tells you, hey, dude, I'm telling you, this position will change your life. Like, if they offer it to you, don't think about it, take it. And so, like, it's so much easier to already have a friend in the organization. And so somebody that knows, they can kind of give you it just kind of gives you a little bit of a
nudge.
Yeah, a little nudge, I guess.
It's a
I
sense
got a
of peace
question
too,
for
making
Corey.
that decision.
Yeah.
What's up?
How did you feel once you came in and you were hired on? How did you feel?
So that's a great question. I was so surprised at because I came out of a little bit of a toxic work environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's even times where I have to tell myself, like, hey, because I'll let my thoughts creep back into that. And I have to tell myself, you're not here, you're not there, you're here. And it's different. But the immediate, just the caring about me and about my family, I already knew there was going to be some level of that because, me and you played on a softball team together, and I kind of knew you from Brandon. But the rest of the team, I can truly say, I have a very select small group of friends that I would call my best friends. But all the guys I work with, all the people I work with, they're my people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you're saying, it's a family. And I'm excited to see all of my family grow.
Mm-hmm.
And we win as a team.
And I think it attracts good people when you can build a culture and like we've been able to, God-centered, and it's no credit to anything me or my father did. It's all credit to the good Lord, the good man, or the man upstairs, because, man, we're just as human as anybody else. But, for me, having a heart for your team, the people you work with every day, is a must. It's not optional. It should never be something that you even consider to view them differently. There's a lady that is actually going to be starting with us. She passed the final interview. I think it was last Friday, and she actually mentioned this, and it kind of took me back. She said, in the company that she works at right now, we talk about people being a number. They legitimately have her as a number. There is never a place on her paperwork that she gets of anything that has her name on it. She has a number. If she's talking to one of the leaders, before they'll even have a conversation with her, she has to give them her number. Now, that's the definition of someone being just a number.
100%.
There is no way that you're going to be able to lead or have a team grow in the right way if you're not personally invested into their lives. You have to be. You just have to be. And that's where you get that that buy-in and that, hey, I can move up in this company. There is a way I can. I just got to stick my head down. I got to get it done. I got to do what I'm asked to do. And I also need to share my opinion. The leaders out there, let your guys share their opinion. You know what's funny?
There's been many a times that
Yes.
like my opinions, like I'll have an opinion for something, but then my guy will come with me an opinion. I'm like, dude, that's a great idea. What was I thinking?
How many times do we miss it when we don't listen to our team? They're in the grind.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think so many times that we're so. I give you a little bit of a story and it'll be pretty quick, but we're so honed in, and we're looking through it like a little peephole. And I was working on the roll former. We had a chain break, and it was a fun time. It was covered in grease from head to toe, and
You look great that day.
I was trying to get this thing back together. Could not figure it out, and I've been out there for like 4 hours.
Oh, probably longer than that.
And Brandon comes out there, 5 seconds, I swear, and was like, "Hey man, did you try this?" I just kind of looked at him. I was like, "Yeah, I did." And then I got looking at it, I was like, "No, I didn't." And it worked like a charm. And I also think you got to be willing to take advice. You got to, be vulnerable with your team and allow your team to be vulnerable with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can be a good leader if you're just throwing out commands. You have to be vulnerable. You have to take in the suggestions, the opinions. I mean, that's part of being a team. Throw your ideas out. Let's try them. Let's see what works. It may be a stupid idea. It might be a great idea. That stupid idea might be something redneck that worked. And it'd be the thing that gets everything going. You have to be able to take the opinions of others and their suggestions to get anywhere in a company, I think.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think we can confidently say that we're blessed with the team we have, and I just want to encourage everyone out there that if you're working in a toxic environment, you don't have to stay there. But be careful that you're not viewing a toxic environment as, I just don't feel like doing it. I just don't want to do it. I'm lazy. I don't feel like putting in the hard work. Because that's another whole set of issues. But look for something different if you're in a toxic place. There's places out there that really do care.
Just like ours.
They really do care, and
100%.
you will be noticed. You will be noticed. Second thing I would leave is leaders. Take a look within your company. You have great people that will give it their all if you're just willing to look at who they are, look at where they could fit in the growth of your company. Don't miss it. Don't miss the fact that you got a gold nugget right there within your organization. Yeah. Don't miss it. It'll first and foremost you'll get somebody that understands the business already, which is a huge boost. Second thing, if they've been there as long for a while, they're already bought in. You don't have to try to find somebody else and see if they will be bought in. Look within your organization, and you'll find some gems. I promise. Get to know your people. Get to know the people under you. Understand who they are, who their families are, and you'll be shocked at what comes out of, what comes out of looking within your own organization for your people. And then on top of that, if there is nobody there, open it up to your whole company and say, hey guys, we're looking for this position. Do you know of anybody that you feel would be a great fit? He hasn't let me down yet. It has not let me down one time yet. I'm trying to think of the last hire that I made that wasn't either or a promotion that wasn't either within our company or a suggestion of someone else. I don't know.
I can't think of anybody, honestly.
So that right there tells me that there is something to that. And I do know that, like right now, we're looking to hire an accountant in a position. There has to be some knowledge within that department. So we are looking outside of that. But we did start by saying, "Hey guys, does anybody know of anybody?"
Yeah.
Nope.
And if you're listening to this, if you know of anybody that would be a great culture fit, just give us a call.
Plug it in there, buddy.
Extension 2003 at Yoder Metal.
But yeah, I think I think we can wrap up with that. I really appreciate y'all too. I want y'all to know that I am
appreciate
so
you.
proud of who y'all have become in this company, and I mean that, guys. I mean, and Corey, you as well. But I want to especially look at y'all and say thank y'all. Y'all have given it your all. You've made my life easier. You made my life easier for my family, and I hope that we can continue down this journey of making this company better, taking it to another level, and continue to grow, continue to be better every day. And so, yeah, it's any closing thoughts from anybody?
Well, I ain't going anywhere until you give me the boot, so you stuck with me.
Yeah. I think that's what, probably about I hit my year. I think that was my statement is if you want to get rid of me, you're going to have to fire me.
Exactly.
So we're in for the long haul.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody. Appreciate y'all for listening. Remember, we're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Give us a like. Subscribe to our channel. It really, really does help. And just always remember, like we always close it out, if you do nothing else, always lead with a purpose. And I promise it'll take you further than you ever imagined. Thank you so much for listening.